And that's why story has become such a crucial aspect of my work. And the power of story, the power of word, which is really the power of agreement. And how does reality change? What is it and how does it change?
That's fascinating. It's like, how does it change according to our story? And what outside of the obvious trajectories in which we think certain things about the world, right. So we build certain things about the world. But that's not what you mean. You mean something much deeper, it seems, that the narrative itself is somehow constructing different possibilities of the world around it.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's almost like the informational pattern.
That's right.
It reconstructs the what it can unfold into, even.
With the further understanding that the narrative is only one layer of an entire state of being and consciousness.
Wow.
So this is what happens. Like, people will get into some conspiracy theory, okay, and it will generate a totalizing discourse. They start to see the world, they see everything in terms of this theory. And you could say that there's just like a selection bias going on, confirmation bias. They're shielding themselves from data that would violate their narrative.
Which there is to an extent.
And that happens,
yeah.
Okay? But there's another level, which is that when you go very deeply into one of these narratives, it's also a state of being. If you've ever been there, like, notice how you feel. It's different, right?
Yep.
That narrative / state of being magnetizes the confirming data points to it and shifts you into a reality in which that is true.
That is true. Yes.
Yes.
I'm in full agreement with that. This is where it gets a little bit more kind of, to anybody who never experienced psychedelics. I'm sorry, because it's not going to make any sense to you. Or at least it's going to be a lot of resistance to what I'm about to say. But what I saw in the DMT space, there's something that shifted about my experience since I built the laser. And one of those things that I see all this extra content that, as far as I can tell, some of it, I met some individuals online who had like similar things somewhat, but there seems to be like a whole layer of new kinds of content that, as far as I know, nobody has ever seen. Now, I'm looking for these individuals, but that would be amazing to compare notes. But one of those things is I see those almost like iridescent tunnels. It's almost like, those little inflatable tunnels that they build for kids to kind of run around through. So it's kind of like that, but they're just lined up and they just kind of bump against each other. They look almost organic, like arteries. And then the way I feel, like if I have like a negative charge emotion or a positive charge or like certain thoughts, I can see them all of a sudden respond, like they shift. And it's almost like train tracks. It's almost like you are now doing this with your heart and mind. So now it shifts you into this history. Like right. Now here, these things will happen. Now there's going to be way more car accidents around you. There's going to be, right. It's almost like, so it right. matches exactly what you're saying.
And imagine what happens collectively when we shift into a different timeline, and all of a sudden the archaeological evidence for Atlantis that didn't exist
all of a sudden
previously,
yes.
Now we found it now. Is that we found it now, or is that it didn't actually even exist? And then how do we, so it's not even, like, any way I talk about it is going to simplify it.
Of course.
In an inaccurate way.
Yeah.
Because you could say, well, it does exist. It's being ignored. Here, read this book. Okay, but it doesn't exist in consensus reality. It's on the margins of reality. And consensus reality does not accommodate itself to who we are becoming. We are becoming more and more uncomfortable in consensus reality. More and more people are becoming more and more uncomfortable in it.
Wait. So
yeah.
I think I understand, but unpack that a little bit more. So are you saying that what is consensus reality in this example? The thing that does this creation?
It's like it's layer after layer after layer.
Everything that exists.
It's what Wikipedia says is true.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we're stepping outside of
official reality might be a better word for it.
Okay, so what we believe at the moment in mainstream to be reality.
Right.
Okay, that's what you mean.
Right.
Okay, that's a good distinction because I did not.
And putting it onto the margins, people do that individually too. Like, people might have had a direct experience that violently conflicts with official reality, yet continue living their lives as if official reality were real, as if that was all there was to it. And this is the problem of integration of psychedelics.
Hello. How are you, bud? Oh my God. Okay, you're the most adorable thing.
Oh boy.
Hi. Hi. Yes. Hello. You're adorable. Can you even jump this? No, you're gonna go back? You should go back. That was a nice surprise. You want to try and get down? Okay. So that's, you're blowing my mind right now because it connects so well to everything that I'm seeing. And so my friend actually told me, I have a good friend, Vika, and she's also kind of in the space of she's actually, I should actually tell her a lot about her, but she's in this space of helping people kind of wake up to a lot of things. And one time I told her about this whole thing. In the beginning, she was very skeptical, and she almost gave me this kind of like not saying anything, but like, you know, like, oh, I think he's losing it kind of thing. But then when she started seeing that there was actual things happening around it, she got a little bit more curious. And one of the things she told me was like, do you think creating this? I was like, that's an interesting question that I never thought about, because my whole life I was obsessed with the question.
Right.
Since I can remember myself. That's what my brain does when I just sit down and have nothing to do. And isn't it convenient that all of a sudden I stumble upon something that seems to lead to an interaction with the ultimate question, right?
Yes.
And then I never thought about that because in my world, that was not a possibility, in which reality conspires to make whatever you truly, truly aim for, like with your entire being. And because the law of attraction is usually packaged and sold in the Western world as a very, you want a car? I'm like, oh, shoot me. You know, it's like,
yeah, right. Manifest. I manifested a car. Yeah.
It's like,
right.
What are you talking about? Also, if you reaching for this state of like connection with the world, what you're going to ask for is a car. You know, it's like,
right.
It's so like, yeah.